The movie begins with a young boy named Jack. His father was a farmer, and Jack loved hearing stories, especially those about barons and kings. He was particularly inspired by one tale from long ago. In ancient times, a powerful king ruled over the land. During his reign, some monks created beans that were far from ordinary. They were magical. These monks crafted these seeds with the intention of reaching God by climbing to heaven. They planted the beans, which grew into an enormous tree, stretching skyward beyond the clouds. As these monks climbed the massive tree, they discovered something unexpected. Another world existed between earth and heaven. This dangerous realm was home to giants, creatures much taller and stronger than humans. When the giants encountered these human visitors, they quickly identified them as potential prey. Having found a path to earth, the giants descended and wreaked havoc on our world. They destroyed everything in their path and even began killing and eating humans. Witnessing this devastation, the king's knights managed to slay one of the giants. Afterward, the monks performed sorcery on its heart, extracting it and using it to create a magical crown. What happened next was extraordinary. When the king appeared before the giants wearing this crown, they immediately knelt before him. The giants accepted him as their ruler because of the crown's power. The king then commanded the giants to return to their realm, and after they departed, he ordered the tree cut down. The king preserved the beans forever, and when he died, both the seeds and the crown were buried in his coffin. Interestingly, this story wasn't just Jack's favorite, it was also beloved by a princess. The princess's mother, who was part of Jack's ancestry, used to tell her this very tale. 10 years later, we see Jack has grown into a young man. He travels to the city to sell his horse. Upon arriving, he notices a play being performed, the same legend he heard as a child. He stops to watch the performance, where he spots a disguised girl who is actually the princess, though no one recognizes her royal identity. When some troublemakers begin harassing the princess, Jack steps forward to defend her. One of them punches Jack in the face. Jack threatens them, causing them all to bow down. Initially, Jack thinks they're afraid of him, but he soon realizes they're actually bowing to the princess who has appeared behind him. The princess leaves with her royal escort. Meanwhile, a nobleman named Roderick appears. The princess's father wishes for her to marry Roderick, but the princess dislikes him and refuses the arrangement. Roderick discovers his study has been ransacked. He finds a crown hidden in a plant pot, the same crown made from a giant's heart ages ago. However, something else is missing from his books. Roderick orders his men to lock down the city and find the monk responsible for the theft. While Jack is in the city trying to sell his horse, a monk approaches him. "I want to buy your horse," the monk says. Jack replies, "You'll need money for that." But the monk has no coins to offer. Instead, the monk gives Jack some beans, revealing they're connected to Jack's father. "You'll receive your payment after giving these beans to him," the monk explains. Jack protests, "Who pays with beans instead of money?" The monk responds, "These aren't ordinary beans, they're magical. They're powerful enough to change the entire world. They're extremely rare, so don't lose them at any cost. And most importantly, never let them touch water." With that warning, the monk takes Jack's horse and leaves. Shortly after, the monk is captured by authorities. When Jack returns home, his uncle becomes furious about the trade. "What is this? You traded our horse for beans? That monk has fooled you." In his anger, Jack's uncle throws the beans onto the floor. Jack scrambles to collect them, but one falls through a crack in the floorboards without him noticing. Outside, it begins to rain. The princess happens to be passing by Jack's house, having escaped from the palace to avoid her arranged marriage to Roderick. Seeking shelter from the rain, she takes refuge in Jack's wooden house. Jack recognizes her as the princess, and they begin talking. Suddenly, rainwater seeps through the floorboards and reaches the fallen bean. Despite the monk's warning about water, the bean becomes wet and begins to grow rapidly. Since the roots of the emerging beanstalk are beneath the house, the entire structure is lifted skyward as the plant grows. The princess becomes trapped inside as the house rises. Despite Jack's attempts to save her, the princess is carried upward with the growing tree. By morning, the king arrives and sees an impossibly tall beanstalk stretching beyond the clouds. Jack explains everything that happened. The king quickly organizes a rescue mission, declaring, "Go and save my daughter." Roderick volunteers, "I will also go to rescue my future wife because I love her." Jack insists on joining them, so they allow him to come along. While climbing the beanstalk toward the sky, Roderick deliberately cuts the rope, causing several knights to fall to their deaths. When they finally reach their destination, the realm between earth and heaven, Roderick confronts Jack. "I know you have those magical beans. Give them to me." Roderick threatens Jack with a knife and takes the beans, but Jack manages to secretly keep one for himself. The search party splits into groups of 3 to look for the princess. Danger lurks everywhere. A giant appears before Jack's group and captures his 2 companions. Jack follows the giant, believing it might lead him to the princess. Meanwhile, Roderick is shown with his companions. He pushes one of them off the edge, revealing his treacherous nature. A giant appears and kills Roderick's remaining companion. Just as the giant is about to kill Roderick, he pulls out the magical crown, the same one made from a giant's heart thousands of years ago, with its ancient spell still intact. Wearing the crown, Roderick gains control over any giant who sees him. He arrives at a place filled with giants, where the princess and one of the king's men are being held captive after being caught by a giant. All the giants kneel before Roderick. He even orders their leader to bow to him, placing his foot on the giant's head as a sign of dominance. "I am your king now," Roderick proclaims. "We will go to Earth and enslave everyone." In the giant's kitchen, one of the giants prepares to cook and eat the captured knight. Jack sneaks in just as the giant is about to kill him. Grabbing a large knife, Jack attacks and stabs the giant, killing it instantly. Jack rescues the knight, and along with the princess, they flee. They reach a location where they could potentially descend to Earth via the beanstalk, but a massive giant sleeps nearby, blocking their escape. Jack and the knight devise a plan. They find a wasp hive and release the angry insects into the giant's face armor after carefully removing it. The giant wakes up in agony, thrashing about until it loses balance and falls to Earth. The king sees the falling giant and realizes the danger. The giants are trying to come down, he warns, ordering his knights to cut down the beanstalk. If they reach Earth, they'll destroy everything, and no one will be able to stop them. The knight tells Jack and the princess, "You two go back to Earth while I stay here. I must stop Roderick at all costs. He'll bring disaster if he reaches Earth, and I know how to thwart his plans." The knight remains behind while Jack and the princess begin descending the beanstalk. The king reluctantly orders the beanstalk to be cut down, knowing it poses a threat to the entire world. Meanwhile, Roderick prepares to lead the giants to Earth. The knight, who had been hiding nearby, attacks Roderick before the giants can begin their descent. He kills Roderick, and the magical crown falls from his head. On Earth, the knights succeed in cutting down the beanstalk, which begins to collapse. The knight falls with it, as do Jack and the princess who are still climbing down. Miraculously, all three survive the fall. However, the leader of the giants recovers the crown and places it on his finger. All giants immediately accept him as their new king. Though they can't use the felled beanstalk to reach Earth, they discover a small pouch containing more magical beans. The giant king throws these beans into water, causing new beanstalks to grow. The giants direct these stalks toward Earth and begin their invasion. The king joyfully reunites with his daughter and thanks Jack for his bravery, unaware that Jack and the princess have developed feelings for each other. Being a commoner, Jack bids farewell to the princess and heads home. On his way, Jack notices new beanstalks forming a bridge to Earth. He realizes this must be happening because of the beans Roderick had stolen. The giants are coming to Earth. Jack races on horseback to warn the king and princess of the imminent danger. By the time Jack reaches them, the giants have already surrounded the area and begun their attack. The king, Jack, and the princess flee to the castle for safety. This royal family is especially targeted by the giants because they're descendants of the king who originally banished them using the magical crown. They all reach the castle just in time, though Jack nearly gets left behind. He orders the beanstalk to be pulled up before the giants can use it, but the giant leader grabs hold of it. The knight commands the archers to fire continuously until the giant falls into a moat of water with fire burning on its surface. Unable to emerge from the flaming water, the giant leader searches for another way in. Meanwhile, other giants pull on the castle doors with ropes while the king's knights struggle to keep them closed. The giants hurl flaming trees at the castle, with one smashing through the wall. Seeing this destruction, the king realizes they may not be able to hold out much longer. The king instructs the princess, "Go to the secret chamber. There's a hidden passage that will lead you to a signal fire. Light it to alert the kingdom that we're under attack." Jack accompanies the princess on this crucial mission. As they reach the tower with the signal fire, the ground beneath them suddenly erupts. The giant leader has tunneled his way in by breaking through the earth. He captures both Jack and the princess, preparing to devour them. In a desperate move, Jack pulls out his last magical bean, the one he had kept hidden. As the giant opens its mouth to eat him, Jack throws the bean down the giant's throat. The giant feels strange as the bean takes root inside its body. Suddenly, beanstalk shoots begin growing inside the giant, splitting its body apart. The giant's severed hand, still wearing the magical crown, falls near Jack. Meanwhile, the other giants have breached the castle. The king and his knights stand before them, facing certain death. Unexpectedly, all the giants kneel down. Confused, they turn to see Jack standing behind them, wearing the magical crown. Jack commands, "Go back to your realm." The giants obey, retreating back up the beanstalks, which are then cut down once they've departed. In the epilogue, Jack and the princess eventually marry and have 2 children, to whom Jack tells the story of the giants, just as he heard it in his childhood. The children ask about the crown, and Jack reveals it's been secured in a special display, drawing visitors from far and wide, though its true power remains a secret to most. The movie ends with this touching full-circle moment, completing its epic tale of courage, magic, and unlikely heroism.